my cup with some Java love. Sit on down, let's talk it up. I know some laughing lattes, laughing lattes.
Welcome to another episode of Life and Lattes with Liv and Cole. I'm Cole.
And I'm Cade.
And I'm Levis.
It's a bro-sode.
Epibrode.
Sorry.
Epibrode.
Got all the dudes today on the show. I think everybody remembers Levis and Cadence, or Cade, a.k.a.
The Cadence.
The Ohio State University. The Cadence. I like it.
The Cadence.
Liv is out today, so don't expect any femininity on the show today, okay? All dudes, all day.
She gone.
She out. She gone.
We had a couple things planned today, and nothing went as planned. So I got the dudes together, and we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. So
Dude stuff.
First thing, we got some coffee that we're drinking here. Let me find the bag. Mom supplied this one today. Thanks, Mom.
Appreciate it, Mom. Shout out to moms.
Thanks, Mom.
All the moms.
All the moms.
Love the moms. Love the moms.
Kay, do you know where she gets this from?
I don't.
Okay.
Lord knows.
She ordered online. She told me.
She probably grew it.
Yeah.
It's called Lifeboost. Elevate, energize, excel. I'm serious. My favorite thing is this. At the bottom it says ingredients, organic coffee. That's it. That's the only ingredient.
You know
Perfect.
what? It's really all you need.
Right?
Am I right?
It's just, I thought it was funny they had to put that in there. Like, what other ingredients do you put in a coffee bean? But anyways, this is USDA organic certified.
Just like my beef, you know what I'm saying? Just how I like my beef.
Naturally grown mountain coffee.
Perfect.
Seriously says that. This is the organic Nicaraguan. It says medium. I wonder, what do you think WB means? Medium.
With balance?
White balance? Roast?
World blend?
World blend?
World blend.
Seems safer.
Whole bean. It's got to be whole bean, right?
Oh, whole bean.
Whole bean.
There you go.
Look how smart we are.
It's our first time.
Medium whole bean roast. I can't talk today. Woo! What do you guys think? How you feeling this? Medium?
Yeah, it's strong, but it's not overbearing. The acidity is low, which I like. Also, I just feel like it's earthy. You know what I mean? I feel like it.
It's a little earthy.
It's
isn't
earthy,
it?
but I like it.
It's the mountain
It's
coffee.
a little dirty, but in a good way. You know
Straight from the mountain.
Straight from the mountain.
It's good. It's got good flavor. Yeah. I like it. Nothing
The
crazy.
funny thing is you say it has a little bite, like it's strong. I'm not getting that.
I don't think it's strong at all.
Yeah, it's like,
Really?
yeah.
I was like strong, but not like I said, like overbearing. Like it's kind of, it's like low.
It's very smooth.
Very smooth. Yes,
Yes,
that's
very
the word I was
smooth.
looking for. Thank you.
So go to lifeboostcoffee.com and give them a checkout here. Looks like she orders it from online, so you can do the same.
She also got an espresso roast, which I'm eager to try as well.
I like the espresso roast.
Me too.
Where's that?
Espresso is one of my favorites. Sweet. So get you some Life Boost. We're boosting lives today.
Boosting lives. On Life and Lattes, boosting lives.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to start off with, something, a continuance from last episode, and get your guys' thoughts on this. Will be real quick. We talked last week about the great hack. We're talking about privacy and some of the things that happened with Cambridge Analytica and the tampering with the elections and all that type of stuff. There's a show on Netflix. You should check it out, dudes. So at the end of the show, we told everybody, we were like, hey, tell us if you have a Google Home or Alexa, or if you don't have any at all. That poll ended up being a 50-50 split between yes and no. But then we also did Android versus iPhone polls.
How'd that go for you, bud?
Facebook was good.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook was all Android, no iPhone.
Really?
Facebook
Thought that was funny.
Lame.
What do you expect?
Instagram, on the other hand, was a little different. Instagram was a Android 4, iPhone 18.
Ooh.
So
I'm just saying.
iPhone won that one. I don't know. Bunch of sheep.
Bunch of sheep. Hey,
Bunch of people with good taste.
I was going to say.
Whatever.
That's right.
So what's your favorite thing about an iPhone? Just tell me your top one thing that makes you stay with the platform.
I think just simplicity and the easiness. Every time I try to log into your phone, I'm like, what the heck am I doing on this thing? Like, where do I swipe? What do I touch? No clue. So iPhone all the way.
I feel like you're
Simplicity.
always connected too. You know what I mean? Like,
What does that mean?
Like with iMessage, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's always it's just instant. You know what I mean? And with like your computers and all that stuff, like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like if you're on either side of the fence, but you know what I mean?
It's better. It's better on the Apple platform.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
It's definitely better. I mean, when one manufacturer is making all the software and the hardware, makes
Yeah.
it easy for that. I get that. Integration is nice. And I think iMessage is usually the number one thing that people say that's why they won't switch.
I probably if there wasn't for iMessage, I probably would have
Yeah.
tried something else. You
I
know?
love that.
But it's so
It's
good.
great.
It's so fast.
They say it is hateful too if you switch. Like if you've had it as long as you guys have and then you switch, you actually have to log into your iCloud and like disconnect your iMessage, or you won't get certain messages and they'll get stuck on the iMessage server. Like it's it's not fun.
Yeah, that is true. Because I've had like a temporary phone for a while. I had a Droid that I had to use for a few days, and people are like,
hateful.
"Hey, where are y'all?" Oh, I've been texting you, and I'm like, "Didn't get them."
Yep,
you
got
know, 'cause
nothing.
I'm waiting on a new iPhone. So
There's
yeah,
actually,
it's not good.
I read something the other day. There was this big article about there was this hack that you could do where you could buy like, you could buy like a Mac Mini and just like plug it in and set it up to run as a iMessage server, and then you download an app on your Android phone, and you can use iMessage through that, but you have to keep that computer running at your house and on the network.
Huh.
But it all kind of works in conjunction so that you have to set up an account and everything, but you set it up and you can get iMessages through
Interesting.
It's doable. Is what you're
that. Yeah,
saying.
it's doable. There's always
There's
a
a
hack.
will, there's a way.
But the
right?
problem is,
Yeah.
again, like I have to have a computer at home that runs and, go through the whole thing. And I still have to buy a Mac. So
Yeah.
you have to get in the ecosystem somehow. Okay.
Right.
Anyways, so
That's how they get you.
The
One at a time.
ecosystem, right? One at a time.
Next thing you know, you got an Apple Watch, a Mac, iPad.
you know what's funny is
iPhone. You know,
some
the
of-
whole thing.
some of the biggest YouTube people, they use Windows to edit all their videos.
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Just saying.
Hey,
It happens.
I believe it. It's a crazy world. A lot of smells.
The fact that you can build a computer makes a difference. You know what I mean? Have swappable components instead of everything being soldered to the board. Don't get me started.
I was gonna say I'm lost at that point.
You know,
I might
it's
as well
going to be a
I might as well
long
leave.
hour.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. On a lighter note, so Cade and I's cousin Aaliyah just turned 21. That would have been what, last week? It was the 21st of July. So happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday,
It's late,
Aaliyah.
but we love you.
It's late.
We were on a trip with Levis as well, and we didn't get to take her out, so we are taking her out tonight. So what I thought we could do that would be fun is some of the stories that we can tell, talk about when we turned 21 and what that was like, just kind of like what we did and where we went and who we were with and things like that. So I figured Levis can go first because we weren't with him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Well, probably thank Jesus, by the way. We weren't all friends
Right.
when we were younger. I'm sure my body's thankful, my liver especially.
Right.
But yeah, turning 21, so middle of summer. My parents obviously had a boat at the lake. You guys know that. And so you've experienced a little bit of the dock life where we were at, but they just threw a huge party, rented party boats during the day, and there were so many people. You could barely walk through the dock. People just came from all over because they got a DJ and they had like all this food for a pitch-in.
For your
like-
birthday?
Yeah, like my 21st birthday, they literally had a DJ on the dock and like turned it into a huge dock. Like it was a huge. I was like, where'd all this come from? And so all my family shows up, and literally the dock. You guys have been there, so you
Yeah.
know what it's like. But the edges of the dock, there were so many people that it was almost touching the water. So it was insane. Yeah, it was nutty people. Pictures or stuff somewhere away. I don't want to see them.
Right? You're like,
for a
I'm
while.
out. Don't want to remember.
Yeah. So
Probably
that was,
don't.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. And then
That's tight.
Wow.
yeah, it was fun.
impressive.
Jake and Michaela were there.
Oh.
Kendra was there. You guys know of her. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good time. And then as a follow up, we went to Nashville in the fall. That was the first time I had been to Nashville legally. So it was I don't know. I guess they were excited. I was 21.
Right?
But
Sounds
Sounds
yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Sounds like Bloomington was excited you were 21.
Yeah, they took our whole mom and dad took all of us, all the siblings, to Nashville for a long weekend.
Oh,
so,
that's tight.
So that was fun. So I got to experience the bars, and, and do all that for the first time. So yeah, that was 21.
Dang. Any good stories or no?
No, I mean it was pretty. Other than
was
the dock
fun,
party
yeah.
just being wild. I mean, don't remember some of it.
Yep, gotcha.
His 21st birthday, but yeah, it was just insane. So just all the people being there, pretty memorable. But, Yeah, nothing crazy.
I was there for Cade's.
But yeah,
Because
and
we're 2 years apart. So
well, it's funny. It's similar because we just went downtown and got some good dinner, and then went and hung out.
that's right. I took you downtown.
Union
Wasn't
50.
it? Didn't Austin come that night?
Yeah, Austin was there.
Okay, yeah. So the three of us went to Union 50.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I told him, I said, you order what you want.
So nice.
And yeah, that's quality. Like they had
It's some good food.
nice quality cocktails, food. Like that was a good night. So we just chilled and did that.
Then we walked. Oh, it was also, since my birthday's in February, it was also I think like a whopping 15 degrees outside.
Oh, it was cold.
It was cold.
Oh, was that the night you tried to jump that fence and fell down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was on the way. Yeah. Whoops. But we
were freezing.
We walked from Mass Ave to the Circle in 15-degree weather. Not a great idea, but we did it and we made it back alive.
Woo, I remember coming back being so cold.
I know, just shivering, just shaking.
And you did. So there was like it was like an iron gate, you know what I mean? That was like covered like a patio that was out on Mass Ave. And he was like, Cade's like, I'm going to jump it.
I was feeling a little saucy.
Yeah. Jumps it, catches his foot, falls flat down. And I'm like trying to get back to the car. I'm shivering. I like pick him up. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Just in the heat of battle. Just,
Right.
we gotta go.
Come on, man. Come on. Get back to the car.
It's fantastic.
Rallies in 10 minutes. We gotta be there.
Right.
But I think that was. Oh wait, sorry. Well, 21st. Well, then we went to Nashville too.
Yeah, then
I think several weeks later.
Then we kind of did the same thing as your family. Dad took us all the dudes.
Yeah. Jake,
Devin,
you,
myself,
and myself.
Yeah, that was it.
And then Dad and his buddies showed
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
Just for a weekend. It was a beautiful weekend.
It was because it was like 30s up here. We went down there and it was like 60s.
Yeah, gosh, it was so nice.
And we got a Airbnb house, like a 2-story.
House is so tight.
It was beautiful.
That was fun.
Up to date. Oh.
You got any story? I mean, other than you tripping over the fence, but like when we were in Nashville.
In Nashville, no, I just remember just going hanging out on Broadway, mostly
Yeah.
just people watching
That
and
was
just
super fun.
like hanging out. You know what I mean?
Oh, tell them about the story about your ID.
Oh yes. So I get
This guy.
So yeah, we get down there and I hadn't got my ID yet, so I still had my underage. And I guess they're like obviously I don't blame them, but there's sticklers down there because I'm sure everybody trying to get fake IDs and stuff in there. So went to went downtown, couldn't get into one of the bars, and then went to I forget, it was a fancy hotel. I forget what it's called.
There's a bunch of them.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Anyway, super fancy hotel. We went in there and borrowed their printer and tried to print out.
That is fantastic.
Tried to print out a. We didn't even tell anybody. We just snuck in there and then like went to the business section and just sat down and you could just get on.
Love it.
Believe it or not, and printed out the temporary and then just use that. And some bars wouldn't let you in and some would. So
Yep.
it was just like
That's
whatever.
fantastic.
So you know what I mean? We were
Save
just-
the weekend. Thank you,
Save
hotel.
the week. Yeah, appreciate it.
Don't remember what you are, but thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it. I know where it's at. I just forget what it's called.
Yeah. I actually got invited to go. I should have gone looking back now, but
Yeah.
You got invited?
yeah,
Jake
JB invited me.
you should have
And I was just like,
came.
those guys are lame. now here we are.
I mean,
No, you're stuck with us.
Now here we are. Can't get rid of you,
That's fantastic.
and vice versa. So.
what about yours, Cole?
So, Cade knows some of it. He was the one who picked me up.
Hey, what up? Oh, I forgot. Oh, no, it's coming back to me.
Look at him.
He's
So-
like, oh boy.
So at that point in time, Cade and I were living together in Broad Ripple, and I worked there as well. So Cade had not turned 21 yet, and I didn't have anybody else that had turned 21 other than Jake. But that night I got off work, and that's when we went out. So everybody from work was older than me, so they all took me into Broad Ripple, and it was hateful. I had fun, don't get me wrong, and I actually remember all of it. But they were just like, here, have this. Here, I bought you this. You got to have this. And the mixture of everything, you're like the beers and the shot of Jameson and then the Rumble Mints,
You're like,
And I was like,
just.
it was hateful. And I wasn't even out that long, I don't think.
Yeah, no, you were gone for like a whopping hour and a half.
That's what I
And
mean.
then I got a call and I was
Dang.
like, really? I was
They were like shoving drinks
an
in
hour.
my
That
face.
seems
like,
awful.
Yeah, they
Rumble
were.
Mints alone is just.
Yeah. So, I forget where it was that we went. But with the first place, I think we went to there's a sports bar there in Broad Ripple. I don't remember what it's called. It's been so long since I've been up there. But we went there. They filled me full of whatever, just mixing darks and lights and beers and everything. And then they took me across the street and we went somewhere else. And, they all live up there, so they know people. So we go to the next place and they're still, they were, I think, there was like $1 beer night or something, and so you could get like Sun Kings and everything. They were super cheap, and so they were like getting me those. And I think I want to say they were Weemacs. I don't know why that's what I was doing.
It's like the heaviest.
I know. So I was starting on that, and I'm trying to remember. This is a funny story. There was this girl, and she was like a friend or a girlfriend of one of the people that was there, and like, I was pretty lit by this point. And we were all just talking. Like, I can remember everything. I just remember being like, woo, And we were all like talking and everything. And she just seemed kind of off, but it was like somebody's girlfriend. So I was like, whatever. Like, we met. They were like, hey, this is so-and-so. And I walked off or whatever. And then at one point, like, I came back over. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, she comes over to me. And all of a sudden, she grabs my shirt. And she starts biting my shirt. Wait, and I'm like, and I'm like so confused. You're like, I'm like, what in the world?
Wait, what do you do with that, right?
She literally rips my shirt. My shirt. Right?
I would not be a happy kid.
And I was pissed. No. I was like, what in the world? At this point, that's when you get to call.
Yeah. You're like, all right.
And I'm like, somebody's got to come pick me up. I'm like, this is getting too much.
Getting weird.
I was freaking out. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. So Cade's like on his way. I go outside, stand on the curb. I'm swaying and my shirt's ripped and I'm sweaty, and my hair's all messed up. I probably look like a wreck.
Probably look like a homeless man.
Yeah, just a hot mess. And but so they pick me up and go back to the house, and I slept. I passed out pretty much after that. I did throw up immensely that night, instantly.
Didn't she also rip your underwear, by the way? I faintly remember you having like your waistband.
Hold on a second.
Wait,
and I was like, it wasn't my shirt. It was my waistband.
It was
my underwear.
Of your
You're right. She was a stripper.
Oh, freaky girls.
I didn't know that was. I was just like, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, she's like. Rips off my underwear band. That's right.
Yeah, because I picked you up and I was like, "What? Why? What are you holding?" You're like, "My underwear." And I was like, "Get in. We gotta go. We're going.
We
home.
gotta go.
We gotta go.
Get in the van.
Get in the van."
That's fantastic.
Nope.
Come on.
I was so mortified of the whole thing. I was like, "What?" Because I find out later at work. You know what I mean? Like next day, like, "How you doing?" And I was just like, "What in the world happened?" Oh yeah, no, and that was. I'm not gonna say who it was that told me because it's incriminating. But somebody was like, "Oh yeah, that's a stripper thing," and I was like, "Oh,
great,
okay."
I probably would have freaked out too, though. By the way.
Oh, she tied it around my head. Right, that's what it was.
I don't know.
It was wrong, but anyways,
you did not look. You were not. Didn't look excited.
I feel like I have to mark this episode explicit now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, so that was my 21st.
That's fun. I did think of a story, a quick one.
What do you got?
Funny. And you guys will enjoy this because I have such a big sweet tooth, right? So.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So listen, my 21st birthday. Of course, we were just drinking all day and all night on the lake, and probably shouldn't have been. Probably should have been eating things. But these people made this like double-decker chocolate cake for me that had all this chocolate frosting on it, and I just had my eye on it all night. I was like, I want some of that. I know, right? It's unbelievable. But I see this cake sitting over here, and I'm like, I want that cake, But I'm like, just everyone's dancing, and we're having a good time, and I'm not going to stop to eat cake. Like, it's party time, So I didn't even know it until the next day, but this cake had no topper on it. But my parents had gotten us hotel rooms, and apparently I took the cake with no topper on it and held it and carried it up to the hotel room with me.
Oh, my gosh.
But I didn't think it didn't, I wasn't paying attention, and the cake slid back and was all over the front of my shirt. And I wake up the next day and my shirt is just covered in chocolate frosting. And I'm like, I was asking my friend, like, where did all this come from? And they're like, Levis, you had the freaking cake. So I stole the whole chocolate cake by the end of the night.
You're like, hey, you're coming with me.
Took it with me. Still don't think I ever had a bite of it, but I had the frosting all over my shirt. So you guys, I was trying to think back. I was like, I know there were some funny things that happened, but
that sounds about right.
And with the sweet tooth, I kidnapped the cake and took it with me. So that was that.
Watch your cakes.
Watch your
Hide your
cakes.
cakes.
Hide your cakes.
Hide your
baby.
wife.
Hide your cakes.
Gosh. And if she starts to grab your underwear band, run.
Run.
Run away.
Steal your cake. You know what I'm saying? I'm easy.
It's not nice. Anyways, gosh, man, memories. It's weird to think that, I mean, for you, it's been what now? So it'll be 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
I thought it was 10. I thought you were 30.
Okay, here we go. It'd be 9. You need to work on your math. Kelly, Ankney, I don't know what you guys were doing during the day at homeschool, but you need to work on math.
Crazy to think, right?
Crazy to think. I was thinking, so I got my driver's license August 6th, so it's going to be like, what, 11 years?
Yeah, that's
I was
nuts.
like, dang.
Yeah, we've been driving for over a decade.
Crazy.
We old man.
Owed.
We owed.
You're only 2 years younger than us, though. So.
I know. He's always like, oh, I'm freaking spring chicken. He's only 2 years.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, now that we've gotten that out, disclosure.
Right.
Hide your kids. I figured today we could talk about some music. All things.
None of us like music.
Nah, I don't like music.
Nah.
It's overrated.
Right?
It's bad for your ears and your emotions and your soul.
I don't know.
I'm just joking.
Well, first off, Cade and I got to give a shout out to this dude.
Yeah?
New album. Got to give him a shout out.
Clay Finnesand?
Yeah.
What up?
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Hopefully we're saying your last name right.
I hope it's all right.
Yeah.
I don't even care the music's so good. I don't care.
So his first name is Clay, so Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Last name it's Finnesand.
Yeah.
So it's like fine sand with 2 N's.
Exactly.
Look him up. Spotify, play music. His album just came out. I don't remember what the name of the album is.
Springside.
Okay.
I think. Hopefully.
Super good. It's like he's got some chill songs, and some of them are more upbeat. He can really, he hits on a lot of different genres. Like some of it's kind of like John Mayer-esque, but then like some of it's kind of funky. He's actually a Christian artist.
Yeah. That's how I first found out about him.
Gosh,
Through
his
Spotify.
stuff is great. Where's he based out of?
I think I don't know where he's from, but I think he lives in Atlanta right now.
Okay, gotcha.
I follow him on Instagram, so
Right.
you can follow him on Instagram. He's also quite the character.
What's super cool is like every time that Cade has like tagged him or sent him a message or I've tagged him in a song or something, like he always replies.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like up and coming, like really trying to make his footprint. And so support.
Love
Got to support him.
especially
Check it out.
artists like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. Any type of artist that's like that. That's always just willing to
And this stuff is top notch.
top notch
Gosh.
sonically, and just it's great.
Yeah, I was like, and I'm lost on this. Kind of like the computer thing. Just hanging out over here.
Levis, what are you listening to right now?
Oh, man. It's all over the board.
I know, but so like what's like top? Like what's like something new that you like that's like top of your list? You get in a car that's like what you're going to listen to?
A lot of country lately.
Yeah.
Definitely like Cole, you're kind of the same way. So like the top 50 playlist for
Right.
country or whatever. But I don't know. I'm usually kind of like a rap hip hop guy and I like to mix in like old school rock, but really just been feeling country lately. So
Yeah.
pretty much anything on the top 50. The new Thomas Rhett album, I like that. It's kind of fun, kind of serious. So
Yep.
been digging that a little bit. Been listening to quite a bit of John Mayer, amping up for that concert. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
August
so,
12th, what up?
All
Yeah.
3 of us are going to that.
Yeah.
You see 3 grown men in the third row on the floor holding each other and crying.
Yeah, that'll be
That'll be us.
It's not us.
It's not us.
It's not us.
Hey, at Kleenex,
Yeah,
we might need a sponsorship.
Right? Pretty please.
Yeah.
Let's a couple of those to-go packs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cade, you're normally kind of got your finger on the pulse. Other than Clay, who else you been listening to?
A guy named Corey Harper from, I think, out in Oregon.
Okay.
But I think he lives in Cali now. But yeah, he just came out with an EP. I've been listening to him for a while. I don't know why I can't stop listening to him. It's
Really?
just like, he's got a cool kind of unique voice, kind of like raspy, but it's he also does a lot of acoustic stuff too, which I like. So, and it's not mainstream. So,
Right.
Not that I have anything against mainstream music, but I
get it.
I like just what's under the top layer of cake, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. You know,
That bottom layer.
Levi and I are at the,
Yeah.
we're always
He's
at the
all
top
at
layer.
the frosting. You know what I mean?
I get all my bottom layer stuff from him. I'll
Yeah,
just be
exactly.
like riding in the car and I'm like, oh, that's a really cool song. And I'll just look it up on Spotify and save it. And
He's
check
like,
people out, so pretty cool.
this guy's from blah, blah, blah. He was born here and all,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't know why. When I go in, I go in.
You do.
I go
All
in.
the
It's
way.
weird. It sounds obsessive or like stalkerish, but it's not. I want to know.
It's all good, man.
I
get it.
want to know. There's also a band from Canada called Bros Landreth that I listen to quite a bit lately. Joey, I sent you. So one of the brothers is Joey Landreth, which I sent you the other day.
Oh yeah, that song was great.
Yeah, so that whole album is great. And then I found out he has a band called Bros Landreth. I think he has a brother that's in it. I don't know. But it's great. So it's also kind of like just soft rock and rock, kind of some country-esque influence, but it's great.
Okay,
Super cool.
I'll make sure too, and like so everybody knows if you go to the description of the episode, these names will be listed in there. So
Yeah,
you guys want to look any of this stuff up.
it's good stuff.
The other thing I'm going to throw out there is there's this band, and I want to say, I'm going to have to look it up real fast because I can't remember where they're from. Cade, pays attention to all that stuff, and usually I know, but I can't remember. Oh, okay. So they're rock. They're kind of like, I don't know, I'd say rock to heavy rock, which is a lot of stuff I listen to. I guess it says hard rock here. Called Volbeat.
Oh yeah,
Volbeat. Been listening to them for a long time. I think their first episode, it says it came out in like 2001 or 2004. So, man, that was they're really cool. They have a different sound. They're a Danish rock band.
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, they're somewhere like the overseas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. They're from Copenhagen.
Ooh, nice.
Yep. So, super good band. They got real big within a short amount of time, and they just came out with their new album. So I've been like, it's funny. That's how it usually goes for me. Like I've been switching back and forth between Clay and Volbeat, and Volbeat's like hard rock, and then Clay's like super chill.
It's quite the flip, by the way.
That's me though. I'll
Oh.
go from like
I know, I'm with you, right?
heavy
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
And Cade will tell you like I've always been a heavy rock fan. Like.
Yeah.
Since day one, so all of that stuff I still listen to.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what you and I grew up on was heavy
Yeah.
rock. I love heavy rock too, but I guess I've got more emotional
That's okay.
my past few years. So I want to get in touch with myself.
I was playing The Devil Wears Prada
Yeah.
the other day in the house with the girls, and we were moshing in the living room.
That's awesome.
It's
It was so much fun. I was teaching them. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is what you got to do.
You got to hit things when
Yeah.
you listen
Gotta
to the song. You got to
push people, hit
push
things.
people, hurt.
Hurt. The funny thing was they were like, that's screamo. That's the best way to put it. They probably don't call it that anymore,
all
but the girls were doing it. It was hilarious. They were like screaming at the top of their lungs, and we had so much fun, headbanging and stuff.
Well, by the way, I like that because your kid, like, I don't feel like any 5-year-old would be listening to that, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, but
they're actually a Christian band too.
I could totally see Dia getting in the headbang.
Oh, she was
mode,
pumped,
and,
yeah.
I could see her getting all pumped up over that.
Which Elsie does
that's
more
cool.
than anybody.
Yeah.
But they love all types of music.
Exactly, and I think it's good to expose them to as much as I can. Here's hip hop. Here's these are the different things, and I like to go back to the early 2000s. So I know you do.
Oh yeah.
Levi. So
sure.
like I'll do that all the time, and just like have them listen to everything.
Awesome. Get you some Ursher or some T-Pain.
Yeah,
Sure.
but there are
Ursher.
two people that Lydia can point out. It's John Mayer. She knows. I mean, he can start playing the guitar, and she'll go. I go, who is it? She's like, John Mayer.
You've raised her right.
Yes.
Hats off to you.
And then the other one is Charlie Puth, which I listen to
yeah.
him all the time. And so Lydia's always like, I'm like, who is it? And she's like, Charlie Puth. She's
like,
working on that.
She was like, oh, Charlie Puth's cute. She's like, I like
God.
Charlie.
Yeah, at Wawa,
she
she was all over it. She was like, "Is this Charlie Puth? He's so cute."
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
She's
All right.
Dia.
She's 5.
I feel like she's 16.
Getting in the game early.
He is on my top. I told you guys, he doesn't just release like music all the time. Some people just like pump out music. He doesn't. Yeah, I think he's had like 2 albums, and then he'll do like remixes of things in between.
Yeah.
And so, I'm waiting on that next album. Come on. But I saw him, what would have been last summer. And it was kind of funny because I go and like, Audrey got us free tickets somehow. And so we went, and it was literally like us and like a bunch of teenage girls and their moms. And I was like, oh, here we go. But it was good. He sounded so good live. Like
He is really good.
He's a good
I enjoy it.
musician.
Yeah,
So
I enjoy it.
Well, you say it, and I was just about to touch on that. I was like, I think he's extremely underrated, and the fact that he produces his own music, the melodies and the hooks that he has are just nuts. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to listen to one of his songs and not have something just stuck in your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
he's just also like what you were saying about Volbeat. Like when you hear Volbeat, like that's them. And same thing with Charlie Puth, especially when you're a huge pop star like that.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like it's hard to differentiate yourself, and he's done it very well.
There's a large mixture of people. Mm-hmm. You just got to listen for that falsetto.
Oh, I know.
Gosh.
Oh, it's so it's
I
like,
know.
Freaking butter my bread up, baby. Come on.
Oh man. Let's see here. So another thing I figured while we're kind of talking about that, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show before, but there's another podcast called Switched on Pop. And I know I've kind of told you guys about it, but I'll give the listeners a brief explanation of it. If you're ever interested in the science or the workings behind a pop song, these guys do it. They picked like one day, I think they did the Taylor Swift song, and then they also did High Hopes, Panic at the Disco. Okay. So they did their song and then Taylor Swift song, and they sat there and they picked it apart, and they have instruments next to them. So they like go, this chord is this, and it means this, and they'll go through the whole thing. I mean, it's not like totally breakdown because the episode's not super long, but they just kind of go through it real quick and say, this is why they made this decision to play this here or do this. And they talk about kind of the science of music and streaming and social media that's now played into the music industry. So I figured we could kind of touch on that just a tiny bit since we're kind of talking about the emotional part or just the way that songs are laid out these days. They were actually talking about the fact that songs are shorter now.
Yeah.
To play to the streaming audience. For those of you out there that don't know, they don't get paid unless you listen to 30 seconds of the song.
Really?
By the way, once you told me that, I feel like if I like somebody, I'm like, oh, I got to listen to 30 seconds of it. Like, I want to support them. So you're
right.
Like,
Sure.
I always think about it now.
Yep.
It's so
I
weird.
did not know that. That's interesting.
First 30
Super
seconds.
Cool. Okay.
So that's why they try to pull you in quick.
Yeah.
They were talking
absolutely.
about the Taylor Swift song. Gosh, what's the name of that? It was the first one, not Calm Down, because that was the other one. But the
Me? Is it Me or something?
Yes.
Like that? Okay. Yeah.
They were talking about how at the beginning of that song, they play a very short part of the chorus, which, the hook, the chorus. They play that first part, and then she goes straight into the verse, and the verse is super short, and then boom, chorus. And it's all, put together so that it captures you quickly,
Right.
so Taylor can get paid.
T-Swift?
Yeah, T-Swift got earning bills.
We know she hurting, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, too, because they talk about, like, you don't realize it, but people like Taylor Swift or any of these huge pop people, other than some of the ones that produce and write their own music, there's like 20 people.
Yeah.
20 to 30 people grabbing into that pot.
Yeah, it's insane because, like, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, I'm like, they must have to make a bunch of money to be able to support 20 writers on one song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what's the Maren Morris's big hit, The Middle? Is that what it's called?
Is that like her and Zed? I think.
Yeah,
or something? Isn't
like
that
one of
together?
her. I think it's her biggest hit. But
Yeah.
it's that kind of like EDM-ish type vibe song. Yeah. But it was kind of like the Taylor Swift thing where it's like 15 people were on it, and they also auditioned like several vocalists for that, and then they ended up picking Maren.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah, you're like, think about all the different people.
Yeah. And they just send it to them, like, you know what I mean? It's not like they all meet together. Like, they just email each other, and then like the song just travels around, and then eventually it's just put together. Like,
there you go.
Nuts.
It's got to be pretty cutthroat, by the way.
It's
because if you're
yeah.
trying to keep that staff and pay people, it's you got to be on your game.
Oh, for
all
sure.
the time. Like,
for sure,
get the job done.
Yeah,
like execute. Be done. Close the deal.
Let go.
Yeah.
And that's a competitive market.
Yeah. Seems intense.
I've told you guys about that show, Songland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
If you guys are interested in anything music, they bring on 4 songwriters that you've never heard of, and then they're in front of 3 producers that are famous, and then they have 1 musician or band. And these people write these songs, and they come in, show them to the producers in the band. They make little changes, they think about things, and then at the end of it, they pick 3, and then at the end of that, they pick 1. So the 3 get to go on to rewrite their song a little bit, switch it up a little bit to make it more appealing to the artist, and at the end, they pick 1, and then the artist records it, and they actually post it the day that it airs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, like, the Jonas Brothers are on one. They go on, they listen to everything. They're very talented, by the way.
Yeah, you can tell.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like,
but they were on the back burner for me, and I guess since they came back, like, I've paid a little bit more attention. I get it.
Yeah, well, they're probably a little more grown up and sophisticated now, right? They like developed their game from solo careers and probably exposure to people.
The those people like that though amaze me. They can just sit there and they just pick up a keyboard and there's like, and they play the chord and they're like, this chord would sound better, and then change this timing to this, and they do the whole thing, and they're almost directing the band that's live there.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like when they do that, it's amazing to me because they'll like rewrite a verse or something and be like, hey, throw this in there, and then they just play it in a different key or whatever, and it's just like,
it's amazing.
How do they get that? I mean, I think of that with Cade, even when he's playing guitar. Like we'll be listening to a song and he just plays it. I'm like, how do you do that? Like it's not in my brain, right? The music gene is not in there, so
it's like another muscle.
Love it, but it's just like, how do you just pick that up? But it's just what you're used to, right? What you know. So
very impressive.
But like you said, most of those guys are well versed in multiple instruments, but it's like they have it up to just like a skill level where it's just usable. You know what I mean? They're not like some crazy pianist or some crazy guitar player, but it's like almost a different skill in itself because you can write a whole song by yourself. You know what I mean? You don't need a drummer and all that stuff. You can just do it. You know what I mean? It's nuts. Just like Charlie Puth. That's what you know what I mean? He just does it.
Yeah. Especially with technology.
Yeah.
There's so much now that you couldn't do before because you can just, as long as you have a laptop, you can pretty much get it done.
Pretty cool though. It's good for him.
Heck yeah.
Good for him. Yeah.
But yeah, you guys got to check out Songland. It's super cool. They're on a break right now, so you can catch up on the episodes. And I think it comes back like next week or something like that. So Charlie Puth's supposed to be on an episode.
Woo-hoo.
I'm waiting on that one.
I think I saw the Megan Trainor one. I don't know if you.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was fun. Good. Yeah, she was. They were killing it. I was like, man, she's saucy, but I like it.
Oh yeah,
she was getting it done. I was like, I like your style. Yep.
You got to watch the John Legend one.
Oh, I bet that one's super good.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because at one point he just turns to the side. This person's already sung their song and presented it, and he just like starts playing the piano and singing it, and somebody just like we all do when we hear his music, like they just melted. They're like, oh my gosh.
I was gonna say he's just so smooth.
So smooth.
Buttery.
His Spotify sessions where he does the piano, I think it's overseas he play, but it's so good.
Makes me just want to cuddle up on a blanket like next to a fireplace and drink coffee or something. You know what I mean? It's just
makes me want to make
so
like
chill
pasta in my kitchen and drink red Cabernet. I don't know why.
That too.
Yeah.
Just very chill.
Very chill.
Just want to drink a good cab.
Drink a good cab,
But so, sorry, taking a sip there. Joke my coffee. But yeah, so kind of back to where we started on that, the science of music. It's just so interesting how you think that, they go in, they write this song, and that's it. They're like, oh, that sounds great. But there's like, no, we have to do this, and, it can't be, it needs to be somewhere in the 2:30 to 3 minute section, if it's going to go here and there and blah, blah, and this is the science of what people listen to and why they listen to it. It's crazy. There's so much more to it than any of us understand. I mean, it's obviously it's a business, it's an industry at its base. It's entertainment, yes, but people are doing this for a living.
On the surface, it seems simple, right? Because we just hear a song on the radio and it's just like, oh, that's cool. But I know, like on Sirius XM, The Highway, they talk a lot about the country artists and they have them on an interview, like what the process is like. And
that's super cool.
I love that.
I think Maren Morris has a new, it's called like the High Women or something that she joined. There's like 4 women, I think, that all have solo careers, but they group together and she wound up being one of them.
That's tight.
Yeah, but they were talking about how they go in and like they meet up for a day and just like record and jam all these sessions in and do all these things. And, everyone they have, they're coordinating them and what they're doing and kind of how that works. So it was pretty insane just to hear like the effort and the quality of work that goes into just producing one song in one session. They're like, we might need to get a whole song out of a day, right? It's just hey, we got a couple verses or something. So it's pretty cool to hear how that works.
It's intense.
I think it's interesting, like what he's saying, to kind of put judgment aside when you hear music now. You know what I mean? Like you said, we all mature. And like, like you said with the Jonas Brothers, like back in the day, you're like, it's the Jonas Brothers, whatever. But now you hear stuff and you like, even if it's not your favorite music, like you listen to it because you can hear kind of like the effort and the quality. And like you said, you kind of want to hear like where they go and why they made those moves. But it's, it's all just like country.
Makes you appreciate it a lot more.
It makes you really appreciate it. Yeah.
When you know the effort.
Yeah. And I think that's why I was talking about that podcast. Cause if it's not like your job or you're not super into music, like it's a way to kind of put perspective on that. Because they're like talking about, they talked about the Jonas Brothers song Sucker when it came out because they got together again. And so they kind of broke it down and talked about the drums and who it is that's playing them and what that beat is and what it means. And talk about the guitar and how whistling, or whatever, that's all good. It's all things that have been repeated in history.
Yeah.
for songs that got big.
Very cool.
So it's all kind of part of it. It's a really nice way to like easily be able to comprehend what's going on in the music industry, because it's not anything I really pay attention to. I love music, but it's not something that I'm sitting there going like, hey, I'm going to pick apart this song today.
Yeah, same. I just turn the Spotify playlist on. I have no clue the background usually, right? I mean, I like behind the lyrics on Spotify, if you ever see that, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
To hear kind of the story and the producers, they talk a lot about that, and like the phase of the career that they're in and all those things, which is pretty neat. So
Spotify's killing it.
They are.
It's pretty good.
I'll be honest, like I bought new headphones and I was doing some tests just to kind of see like what was better, what sounded good, because I was having some issues, which ended up being a software update problem, but I fixed that. But there's a noticeable quality difference between Spotify and Google Music.
Oh, really?
That's interesting.
Like I didn't know that, and I'm like sitting there listening to it, and I'm like really paying attention. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, like there's a huge difference here, like a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I mean, like some of the Spotify songs, they have like a video that plays in the background. Like very impressed.
Yeah, it just takes like next thing you know, it just takes over your whole screen. I know I've been at the gym and I'm like, I pick up my phone from laying it on a bench and there's like people dancing on my phone. I'm like, what is going on? And
right?
It's Spotify video, so it's pretty tight.
Have you used any of you used Apple Music? Because I haven't used it, and I
have. So I think because we both have like iPhone 10 or whatever. So when that came out, I think that's when either Apple or Verizon started doing like the free 3-month trial or whatever. Yes. So I already had Spotify and I was like very hesitant to get rid of it because I'm like, I have all these playlists saved.
Yeah,
and it kind of learns you, right? Because
Yeah.
it makes the recommendations and everything. So I had Spotify, but I was like, oh, I'll just sign up for Apple Music, like whatever. It's 3 months free. And so I did that for a while and it was kind of cool. They have some exclusive content on Apple Music, which is kind of cool sometimes, but I didn't like it enough to switch from Spotify. I mean, it's smooth, right? But I liked Spotify much better.
I get that.
And I'm glad I stuck with him. So.
Yeah, I haven't ever tried it because I know originally it was the Beats Music. And when they bought Beats, then they switched it over and they kind of merged those two together. And now everything's separate. There's Apple Music, there's Apple Podcasts. Like iTunes is pretty much a no-go anymore.
Yeah, it's almost obsolete, right?
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's nuts.
All those 99-cent songs.
Yeah, down the drain.
Dude.
You're like like thousands and thousands of songs, right?
We
like,
all did that.
When we were on our way back from Panama City this summer, I threw it back to my purchase songs, and it was like I'm trying to think like Ludacris's Moneymaker and some old songs from like having an iPod video, and I'm like, all right, all these 99-cent songs that I had in here.
The first song I can remember the first song I bought on iTunes, and I had to talk my parents into it. Like I was like, I want to buy this song. Like, please, it's 99 cents, and they're like, 99 cents for a song. What? Like what? A CD, Back in my day, cassette was. It was I know it was Lil Jon, and I can't remember the name of the song.
There we go.
But it was kind of like they had used a loop from a rock song.
Oh, it was him. Wasn't it him and like Sugar Daddy or something like that? What's his name? I forget what his name is.
I don't know.
Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy.
Not Sugar Daddy. Trick Daddy.
Sugar Daddy. We all know what's on Cade's mind.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, hey.
But I remember that was the first one I bought.
Yeah.
I was so pumped.
I remember getting an iPod, and when I told my mom I wanted an iPod, it was just like the craziest foreign concept to her. She's like, I just don't understand how that works. And I was like, you download music. And she's like, I just don't understand that.
It was amazing.
Just CDs and everything. And so I had the very first iPod that came out. I think they had like different colors. It was blue, I remember. And it had the little click wheel in the middle that was white, and the black and white screen, just basic as could be. So yeah,
I think
cool stuff.
I know I had the second gen because first gen had a click wheel and it had buttons around the outside of the click wheel. Next generation just had the click wheel with a button in the middle.
Yes.
And mine was white because I think all they had was white at that point in time.
Yes. Yeah. Very basic for quite a while.
Yeah. But it's crazy because all it was just a hard drive that was attached to a screen.
That you're carrying around, right? And you think it's the coolest thing ever.
Crazy to think about because you could like hold it up to your ear and hear it in there.
Yeah, just turning. Yeah.
Which is a technological feat in itself that they put a hard drive in something like that you were carrying around.
Might be one of the nicest things he's ever said about Apple.
I know.
Let's take a moment and observe.
Oh my gosh.
Moment of silence. Just
it was a big deal.
For Apple.
Microsoft tried the Zune, which failed horribly. Hardware looked great, but it just couldn't compete for whatever reason.
Oh, I remember
the Zune.
Yeah, like you're right. It was close, but just
close, but
never
no
even
cigar.
heard of it.
But that was funny because then I eventually got a PDA and I was downloading music and then just putting it on cards and saving it on there. I mean, it's a tiny computer, right? And it was touchscreen. It was cool. It was different.
Right.
And then iPod Touch came out. Cade had one of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think I had a
that was
couple of
tight.
those. They were awesome. You know what I mean?
They were sweet.
It was
For what it was. You're like, that was super cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy an iPhone. It was cheaper.
I had several. I had the original, the Nano, the Video, the Touch, whatever. It was just like, man, they kept redoing it. It was like, this is so great.
And you were always carrying both. Like you had a pocket. You're like, I got my phone, which is probably a flip phone or something.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then you got your Apple
for sure
music device and just like all that. You know what I mean?
That was
crazy.
I think transitioning to iPhone, that was probably one of the hardest things, is realizing that all your music is now on your phone and you don't need both. Right? It was just like, I don't want to get rid of my iPod.
It's my iPod, right?
You're like, just leave it plugged in the console of your car and let it play. Right?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I mean,
because everybody had the USB plug-in.
Absolutely.
Your radio would take it over, so I just kept it in the glove
box. Put it in the center console and just tuck it away and let it go.
See you later.
Yeah.
It lived in there forever until it finally broke.
Yeah, until it literally just stopped working.
Yes, exactly.
At all.
Right?
She was good.
Sony was the first one to come out with a phone that was both an MP3 player and a phone.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Didn't either.
Yep, that was the first one. And so I remember that. That was super cool. I had a friend that had one. I was like, oh my gosh, you can play music on your phone? You got MP3s on your phone? That's so cool. And I think my first smartphone, trying to think what it was Windows Mobile for sure. I think it was the Motorola, and it had like a BlackBerry keyboard on the front.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was the Q or something like that.
That's what I want to say.
I want to say, yeah.
I think it was the Motorola Q.
Yeah, Q.
And that was right before the iPhone came out.
Yeah.
So it's 2006, right before that.
That's awesome.
And so everybody had iPhones, and I'm like,
13 years since the first iPhone.
I got my Windows Mobile phone. I'm like, hey, check me out. But it stored music and did everything. Had a web browser. That was cool.
Yeah. I remember I had a friend, and he got one of the new iPhones as soon as it came out. And I was just like, man, that's the coolest thing ever.
Next level.
It was just so cool. And I was like, I need one of those.
Spaceship.
Yeah.
But see, we all too continuing the conversation on music devices over time, you had to have, the CD, like the Walkman, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. I remember I thought I was so cool because mine had an FM tuner in it.
Ooh.
So you could listen to FM radio or CDs.
I never do that about you, by the way.
Yeah.
You're like, it's jazzed up.
It was
tight.
tight.
Had an FM player on there, bro.
I can just remember how horrible headphones were.
The ones with the little wire on the top, like the metal band and the
awful.
foam things on the side
The
of it.
foam would always come off.
Always come off.
Come off, and then you have plastic rubbing on your ear. You're like, ah.
Yeah. I remember I broke my arm when I was little, and so they took the cast off too early, and I broke it again. And my mom, the second time, bought me a CD player.
Yes.
So because I was there, I think I wanted a Tom Petty CD when I was little.
Yeah.
So I had a Tom Petty CD and I had Dina Carter Strawberry Wine CD. So I had both of those on CD. Had them on tape before that. Just been drinking since day one. Taking the strawberry wine. So I had both of those, but I remember her buying me like a Sony Walkman, CD player and having that. So.
That's fantastic.
Sony Walkmans were the bee's knees.
Oh, yeah.
You got a Sony Walkman, bro?
It was like an orangish yellow. It was pretty sporty.
Yeah.
It looked pretty cool. It was a nice one. It wasn't just wasn't the Walmart edition. So it was like, thanks, Mama.
Those things didn't even really fit in a pocket. That's the
no
way.
You were just like holding
And if you turn it sideways, you hear your CD going.
Right.
Yeah. Like pull it flat. You're like, no. You're like walking around like a waiter all the time.
I like this.
Remember they had like arm straps for that, so you could go run with it though. So you could literally like strap
you
an entire
couldn't you?
CD
right
Walkman on your shoulder, just on your bicep. You just
absolutely
hold it flat.
Yeah, sure, it's great on the CD too, right? Just in there shaking around.
Gosh, that's funny because CDs always make me think of DVDs and that makes me always remember like how amazing it was not to have to rewind a VHS tape.
Right.
You're like you're sitting there just waiting. You're like,
because you get it out and you're like, who didn't rewind this?
Yeah.
You put it in and you're just like, and you have to wait on it.
Yeah.
You're sitting there watching the numbers go back and you're just like,
waiting to eat my popcorn.
Right.
I want to watch the movie.
It's hot and
it's
ready.
Hot, it's ready.
Dang it.
The butter. It's nice. It's melty.
I love it. You just hear the VCR winding up. Just sounds like it's gonna take off.
Yep. Did you take any music lessons, Levi? when you were a kid?
I did not. However, I did have a drum set. So Cade and I have
Really?
been talking about this. If we started a garage band, I had a drum set. Yeah, I don't know why.
I could see you.
I don't know why.
I could see.
I don't know why. I've always liked music.
Did you play it?
Or
did you just
not
have
like
the set?
formally, but yeah, just messed around
Occasionally.
Yeah.
occasionally. Just
Take
messing
some
around.
anger out. Just
Yeah, me and my anger
I know, I'm
issues.
just
Just
So much
Yeah.
anger.
It
So
was
much anger.
it was fun though. I remember it was shiny blue, like it was like the ski boats and the wake boats that you guys like with like the glossy blue on it. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Like it was like
that's tight.
fishing boat blue around the outside. It was
Fishing
so
boat
cool.
blue.
bass boat blue.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
my parents bought it for me for Christmas though, and I remember my mom still talks about it. She's like, "Your dad stayed up all night long putting those freaking drums together," because I was like, "Hey, knew what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
Got
I
me some
get it.
drums." So they were fun. They were in my room for a while, and
Gosh,
messed
that's
around
cool.
with those.
That's
So
a lot of fun.
no formal lessons at all.
Right. Cade took guitar lessons.
Yeah, I think for like the first 3-4 years.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah,
I snuck in behind him.
snuck in. Yeah,
Took bass lessons.
yeah. I remember for a while, just we had lessons together at
Yeah.
the same time, and he was just like, "Learn a song."
It was cool, though.
Right. It was cool. It was fun.
The funny thing is I can remember how frustrating it was when I first started.
Dude, it was awful.
It's
It
hateful.
was and I think that's the one piece of advice I try to, like, if anybody wants to do anything, like, just play into, you're gonna be miserable, but just push through that. And once you push through that, it's like you're good to go.
Yeah.
You got it.
That was
till death.
worth it.
But it's
Worth it. 'Cause
Worth it.
Any day, like, I'm like, oh man, like I have a little bit of time in the day. I want to do something. I'm like, I can either play video games or like, I'm like, I want to go play guitar.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
just pick up a guitar and play.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. Come on, Levi, we got to get you on board.
Yeah.
I would
you
love
do
to. I know GNC. I can get that.
There you go.
He's got his GNC down.
Yeah, I got my GNC down. So when we're just sitting out here jacking around, I'll pick up one of these guitars.
We'll just play a song
and start
GNC,
doing
man.
GNC,
I'm
right?
sure
I know.
I'm sure there's a petty tune we can find.
Gotta
Yeah,
teach- that's
I
true.
I could get
That's
down.
true.
But no, I would love to.
Just got to teach him an A next.
Yeah, A and a D, then you'd be good to go.
Yeah.
All you need is 3 chords. That's it.
Three
That's all you
chords
need.
and the
3
truth.
chords. 3 chords,
That's what
the
I hear.
truth,
Yeah.
pen and pad of paper. You're
All
good
right.
to go.
Feel it. Big Machine Records, hit me up. Whenever you're ready. I'll be here. Just let me know.
Just waiting.
Just
Yeah.
waiting. Put me on a T-Swift track, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's see. Okay, we're getting ready to wrap up, but I want to ask you guys first, like, influential band you can remember or artist that really kind of like just helped you turn the corner. Like you were like, man, like this is super cool, and I love music. Like, what was like the big one? Because everybody's kind of got that big band or whatever that really kind of helped them turn the corner.
What are you thinking, Levi?
Oh man, I don't.
Britney Spears.
Oh, hit me, baby, one more time.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. It's killing me.
Gosh, I don't know. There were so many, and like I said, my music is all over the place. So like, if you go into my saved songs on Spotify, it's just like, it's all over the place. Like it's 7 Rings by, and then you go to John Mayer, and then you go to country, and then you go to, but growing up, listened to a lot of country, and not really a band, but Kenny Chesney was like, you guys know, he's kind of my big guy that I like really vibe with.
I get that.
Knows
just-
every song.
No, I
Every-
do, but I think I love it because he has such a mix of like truthful songs that are kind of like, when you're like down in the dumps or when you're going through something tough, he's got songs that get you through that, and he's got just songs that pertain to reality, but then he's also got a really fun side.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a mix of my personality. Like I can be very serious if I need to, but I'm fun loving most of the time,
Yes.
and like to have a good time. So he was kind of the first artist that I was like all in, like, let's do that. Been to a ton of his shows and stuff. So that's probably for me.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney, Cadence.
First, that's it's hard rock for sure.
Okay.
Because that's what I remember. That's pretty much what we listened to,
Right.
the majority. But I want to say Van Halen
Okay.
kind of blew my mind
Yeah.
at first. You know what I mean? But it was also discovery within, because I've been playing since I was like 8 or 9, so
Yeah.
it all kind of happened together. But I think probably Van Halen.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just, I was like, what is this?
What is
What is this? It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Clearly
But-
thinks about music in a different light.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. I'm like,
But it was mostly just in the sense of like, just the guitar, because like I said, I was learning it and listening to it at the same time. But I never really paid attention to the lyrics. Still, when I listen to them, I don't. But you know what I mean. But just the sound, you know what I mean.
I understand that.
Hard rock just gets me going.
Get you going.
And then
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. And then after that, high school. I think I was like 16 or something. Then I started listening to John Mayer. It was Where the Light Is.
Yep.
It was like In Your Atmosphere was like one of the first songs, but it just blew my mind. I was like,
it's amazing.
You could do that on like acoustic? And I was
Yep.
like, and the lyrics, they actually mean something as well. So it was like this whole new door just opened. And I was like,
I understand.
freaking rushed in. I was like, let's go.
Let's
I want
do it.
all of it. All of it. But probably those are the two biggest ones that I can think of. But I don't know.
that.
We listen to a lot of different. It's hard to pick. A lot of
know.
different stuff.
I know.
What about you?
I can remember like it was yesterday. I'm trying to think. So we used to live on Sweetwater Lake, and I'm trying to think. I would have been like, I don't know, early teens. And not that music didn't mean anything to me at that point, but it was just listening,
Yeah.
I liked it. And I always paid more attention to what was being said than musically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But at that moment in time, I was actually listening to Blackstone Cherry's first album.
Yeah. Great.
And it was like this weird moment. Like the lake was frozen over. I was out on the ice listening to my headphones.
Oh, wow. This is specific.
I know. That's why I remember it. Yeah. And at that moment in time, like, I listened to the album and it got me so jazzed that I was like, I want to write songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was like the big moment where I can remember that music kind of changed my thinking in a way where I actually I kind of still have the library. It's funny now, but like I wrote a ton of lyrics in high school. And
that's pretty cool.
That was what kind of had me do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just always remember like they were like the first ones that made me think about writing and doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like the usual guys like Rush and stuff maybe want to play bass.
Yeah,
and
Rush was
Red Hot Chili
huge.
Peppers.
Yeah, Red Hot. Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
All stuff that I listened to growing up going, man, that'd be cool to learn.
A lot of good stuff in there.
And that's most of the stuff that I remember how to play.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You play a lot more often than I do, but
also a lot
still.
of Metallica in there, too, between the two of us.
Oh, my
There was
gosh,
a
yeah.
lot. Listened to it a lot, but it was just...
Death Magnetic, I learned probably every song on that album.
Yeah, I remember you played the crap out of that, man.
Yeah, that was hard, too.
Yeah,
That's where I learned how to double pick.
Nothing easy.
It's all like, 300 beats per minute.
Yeah, just...
So don't start me on a Metallica song.
No. And it's like 20 riffs. It's not like, learn this verse and then, then learn the chorus and you can play verse, chorus, verse, chorus. It's like, it starts up with the intro riff and then there's a riff between the intro and the verse and then there's a verse riff and then there's a riff in between the verse and the chorus and the chorus has 3 riffs and you're like...
And then there's a different song on the other half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like,
it's
wait,
9 minutes long.
You're like, I learned this part. Is that a song within this? It's like songs within songs. That's Metallica. That should be their tactic. Songs within songs.
Right? That's their next album.
Cool. You guys have definitely gotten me into more hard rock. I'll say that since I've been hanging around. I was thinking like Extreme and definitely more Metallica.
Extreme was
80s
after
rock.
Van Halen for me,
Yeah.
but Extreme also was like
Most underrated 80s band.
hands down. I think they're probably better than Van Halen.
Oh.
But
I think everybody plays their part, but for sure, like,
you know what I mean?
Extreme could have had the same amount of fame.
Exactly.
but they
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get a good night in the Jeep with the top off, just cruising through the country. And
Yeah.
Crank up some Extreme. It's just
I know.
Yeah,
I showed
let it
you it
rip.
like several months ago, and you're
Yeah.
like, "This is great."
I was like, I
Jeep
love
music.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're daggone right, it is."
yeah, it's fantastic.
good every day.
Like every day.
Again, get a lot of my music inspiration from Cade. So dial things up and just save it for me.
We all do.
Yeah.
Cade got me started on Mayer. I remember feeling the same way. Like, in your atmosphere, you're just like, what?
Well, and like we were talking about earlier, it's like when you kind of understand the workings of it and kind of really listen, you're like,
Yeah.
all right, he's like, you know what I mean? Because I remember listening to him when I was like 8, and I was like, that dude's a joke.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
I know.
Your body's a wonderland. That's
Yeah.
I was gonna say I grew
Right.
up. I think that
Yeah.
album. My parents were Mayer fans, and so sitting out on the lake on our boat, and Mayer's just playing. I think like the Room for Squares album.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's
or
it.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
And so just started listening to Mayer then, and I've always been a fan, but obviously being around you guys has gotten a little more intensified because of the love there and listening to him all the time.
Man,
But
it cracks
he's
me
got
up.
some good stuff.
know
His
what
new
you're
stuff
talking
is
about.
is really good.
It's killer. I listened to, what's the, my mind is not working today. I guess I just feel like,
Yeah.
love that song.
It just, you're like, I guess I just feel like listening to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you're just like,
Which is just so soft, and he
Yeah.
plays it, and like you can agree with the lyrics,
yeah,
and then like at the end when he kind of ramps it up a little bit, and he does that end solo,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
makes my toes curl.
That's not what I was going to say.
I thought that's what you were going to
No,
say.
you're not.
Not joking.
I
Don't let
thought
him.
that's what you were going to say.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It came home on my way home the other night we had dinner and we went to Bible study and went to dinner and it came home and I was just cruising down 31 with my sunroof open and my windows down, had a sweatshirt on. It was nice and cool and I was like, man, I guess I just feel like now.
Yeah, you're like,
just
I know you're like
guess I just
sometimes.
feel like,
Sometimes.
just, thanks, Johnny.
Appreciate
it.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Appreciate you, brother.
Just get us backstage at your show. Bankers
Yeah,
Live.
right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
August 12th.
We'll make sure and take lots of pictures. Yeah. Unless you guys have something else you want to say, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Nope.
I'm out. Fresh out.
Fresh out.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Episode 20. Super pumped on that.
In the
So
books. Epibrode.
we started in February. It's hard to like February. Now it's August, you know, still
we are.
going strong. So
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
miss you, Liv. She will be back next week. As long as everything goes as planned, which is hard to coordinate everybody, but next week is hopefully going to be a big episode. So I would look forward to that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be learning about coffee. So
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
The lifeblood.
yeah, right.
The lifeblood. Yeah.
The thing that keeps me going through the week.
Keeps us going.
But yeah, so as usual, thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys. Pay attention to Instagram and Facebook. Lots of stuff coming your way. Hopefully we'll do a giveaway soon. Liv will put something together. And yeah, so that's episode 20. Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Enjoy your week.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
See y'all.